and she said, "You gonna tell him or am I?" And my baby mama froze up. She just froze, you know. And so her cousin looked at me. She was like, "Rena, I just want to tell you that baby may not be yours." And so
Um, the one she was carrying, or the one that
seven
you
months, 7 months. She was 7 months.
for your first one?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Said that.
One.
Yo, welcome back to the Kings Can Move On podcast. This is your host number uno, uno numero uno, Frank the Tank, aka Big Reno. What's happening?
I guess that makes me number two, number dos.
Dose, you the deuce.
Yeah, they call me Jay. They call me Wood. Also KCH10 on IG. What's up, everybody? Welcome back.
Yeah.
For those of with us on previous episode, we kind of picked up where we left off. Just kind of keep this thing going about us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Your host, let you know who you rocking with. So talked about me in the last episode. Dug into dug into my guts. Poured them out there. So now we'll get to Frank the Tank, the man, the myth, the
Get
legend.
your popcorn ready, baby. It's a motherfucking show.
Ooh, yeah, boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So man, you was kind of getting to your pops a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you go back a little bit
Mm-hmm.
because talk about my upbringing. Now yours, like I said, we met when we was in high school,
Yeah.
right? So I didn't know you before then, but I do know yours was different because you came from a two-parent household, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: your folks, where they meet and how old were they when they got together?
So my mom and pops, they both are from different towns in Arkansas. And my pops, when he left Arkansas, he moved to Chicago for a minute, became a little gangster up there, and then went back home to Arkansas for a hot minute, and then moved up to Kansas City. And my mom, when she graduated high school, she moved to Kansas City. And I think within a year after her being here, maybe I think it's like 69 or 70, that's when they met. They worked together.
So they met in KC.
Yeah.
That's funny. They both from Arkansas,
Yeah.
but met in KC, not in Arkansas.
Yeah, my dad's from West Helena. He said it's right on the border, Helena and Memphis. My mom's from Menifee, Arkansas. You blink, you miss that motherfucker. But it's fun as hell to be down there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
no more like Central Arkansas. So
yeah.
yeah.
The country. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. 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 So your mom and pops got together. You said
Hmm.
back in like 70, 69,
69,
70.
70, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. And if I ain't mistaken, your birthday's in 73, right?
Man, you ain't gotta put my business
Ah!
out there.
Oh
You can't
man,
put
my
my
bad.
government business out there like
Oh, oh,
that.
my bad. We wasn't calling out ages. My bad. My bad.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Cause I was born in 80. I was gonna tell
right.
you.
Yeah, you meant to say 93. God dog, man. Damn.
My bad.
Mm,
I was doing the math in my head. So they
yeah.
got together and got
70.
together quick.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
okay, all
You
right.
know, back then and shit, that's when uh they got together. My dad actually has my sister from an outside relationship.
Hmm.
She was born in 70. So I
Okay.
think like right around that time my mom and dad met, like whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
My brother was born in 71, and then I came in 73.
Big tiny.
Big tiny.
Yeah.
Big 6'5" tiny. Ain't that a bitch?
It's like an oxymoron. I don't know
Ain't
why
it?
they his name is tiny and he's big as hell.
Right, right.
Yeah. For the record, no, I'm gonna get to it. I hated your brother in high school. I hated your brother in high school.
He's
That
an asshole.
yeah, he's still an asshole. We
Yeah, yeah,
grown
he's
now
still an
though, so
asshole.
shit, it's cool. But back then, man, he was a oh man. But
Man, he's an
anyway,
asshole.
anyway, so okay, your dad's namesake, Frank
Right.
and Frank. Uh, you know,
Difference between that though. So his dad was named. He's named after his dad,
okay,
and both of theirs was Frank Raney, and Frank Raney Jr. So when I was born, my mama wanted to name me after him. My dad was like, nope, and she's like, I'm gonna name him after you. And the only difference is she gave my dad or granddad didn't have a middle name. She gave me a middle name, and she gave me the middle name of some dude she used to watch off Young and the Restless. So that's how I got my middle name.
so why did he want you to have his name?
He never told her. Never told me. I guess
Yeah.
him and his dad didn't have the greatest relationship. His dad, he told story that he would always tell me about his father was one one morning. My grandfather, my grandmother, my dad, and my uncle, they were going to the fields to pick cotton.
Hmm.
And my grandfather said, I got a headache and I'm gonna go on home. And so he left my grandmother, my dad, and my uncle there in the fields picking cotton. When they got done the rest of that day, later on that day, and came home, my grandfather was gone and took everything.
Wow.
Yeah, so he said that was when he was like 7 or 8 years old. He didn't see him again till he was about 12 or 13, and then didn't see him again after that till he was in his late 20s,
Damn.
maybe even early 30s. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So um your dad is no longer with us. Rest his soul. He passed on back in
94.
94.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the time you had with your pops while he's on this earth,
Mm-hmm.
how was that relationship, you and your old man?
Dude, man, my daddy was one of the funniest cats, dog that you could ever meet, man. And it was when I say that like Bernie Mac and my dad, how funny Bernie Mac was to me, that's how funny my daddy was. He would make you laugh so hard you crying, or you made him pee on yourself. That's how funny that dude was. But he was serious. He was so fucking serious when he was saying the jokes and shit that
Yeah.
he wasn't joking, but that shit was fucking hilarious. you know? So that was my pops, man. And we didn't have the Bill Cosby relationship, nothing like that. But he was,
He wasn't Theo and he wasn't Cliff Huxtable. He was.
nah, definitely wasn't no Theo and Cliff. It was my daddy provided for us. My daddy took us things. I remember him taking us me and my brother to the park, taking us down to my sister's house, taking us to my grandmother's house a lot. He was really really close to his mama,
Yeah.
and so that's how I got the hoodness in me, because we was that she lived down in the hood down on 55th, but we was down there about 3 or 4 days a week.
So, in contrast to my upbringing, where,
Mm-hmm.
you know, my dad wasn't in the home with me, he was outside the home.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad was there in the home. You had both parents, but it sounds like it still wasn't the closest father son relationship.
Yeah, I would say as far as him sitting us down, say, "Hey, let me tell you about these ladies out here." He didn't do all that, but he did. He spent his way of spending our time with us was making sure we was around a lot of family.
Okay.
And so one of the greatest things that I just absolutely love and admire and adore about my mother and father was when they got married. Kind of like you said that your mother and father, y'all live right next to each other,
Mm-hmm.
or they live right next to each other, and that y'all grew up together. Well, when my mother and father married, their families married. So we're so our families, my families are so close from my mom and dad's side that some of them even call themselves cousins
Oh
because
yeah.
shit, and they probably still don't know to this day. They probably won't know to this podcast. Y'all ain't blood cousins. Y'all could, y'all was married through that. My mom and pops. I just love that shit, man. I fucking love that. But yeah, it wasn't a relationship as far as sitting me down and having that Cliff and Theo talk, but it was the love that we got at that time. I think that was a love that he gave because he gave it to a lot of us.
And that's how he knew how to give it, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
how he knew how to give love and show love. It wasn't like he was devoid of showing love.
right,
It was just he showed it in his own way. You know,
right.
it's different. So okay. So with that, so on the last ep, you were kind of saying there's things that your childhood, whatever, that you wish you could have asked your old man about before he was gone. What was it that you maybe had on your mind that you wish you could have talked to your dad about? That if he was still here.
One of the things, man, I asked my pops. It's kind of a funny thing, but one of the things I asked my dad, my dad from birth nicknamed me Reno. That's been
Oh,
my
he gave you that
nickname.
name.
Yeah, he gave me that
Oh,
name. So
okay.
from birth, all my family has always known me as Reno. Um, and I always wanted to know why. I was one of them curious kids that know why. And so I would, from time to time, I would ask my dad, "Daddy, why is my name Reno?" He's like, "Because I want, because I like that name." But it was about a year, maybe 2 years before he died. And I'm like, "Dad, why'd you nickname me Reno?" He looked at me, he said, "Because I wanted to, and don't ask me no damn more." And that was it. That was it. So whatever the reason he nicknamed me Reno, he took that shit to his grave with him. I even asked my mom, she's like, "I don't know." So who knows where he got
So
it
did
from?
he ever call you Frank, or he just called you Reno?
Reno or Mr. Reno. Reno when when we was having fun. Mr. Reno when I was getting in trouble.
So okay. So before this, you kind of said he didn't want to name you Frank in the first place.
Hmm.
So your mom still named you Frank, but he never called you Frank.
He would say, "Frankie," when he calling me playing, he drunk or something, "Frankie." And that ain't our name either. He was just drunk and calling me that shit.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, yeah, Reno was it. Or Mr. Reno when I got in trouble. So
Oh, okay. I never knew that. That's where it came from.
hmm
Where
yeah.
the hell? Where did Tiny come from then? Shit.
Nigga, you ain't gonna believe this shit. You ain't gonna believe this shit. So Anthony, Big Mike's older brother. So he was the oldest of us at that time, and when Tiny was born, he went to the hospital and seen him. When he came home, and Anthony was about 4 or 5 years old. Uh, no, he's about three because I think he was born in '68. So when he got home, I mean, when he went over my grandmama's house, my grandmama asked, "Say, yo, Anthony, did you see the baby?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, what's his name?" Anthony looked at my grandmama and said, "I guess his name Tiny Raney since he's so tiny." And that's how Tiny Raney step. That's
Really?
it. Yep. And so it's been Tiny. Tiny turned out to be from a baby turned out to be 6'5" and whatever he weighed. Grown man. We still
Yeah.
call him Tiny.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, he's
Hmm.
tall as hell. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's crazy. Okay. Okay.
uh,
All right. So it was you and your brother in
mhm,
y'all household. Uh,
mhm,
up until y'all got old, whatever.
mhm,
Of course. Then, we had our high school years. We had our fun college years. But at
mhm.
some point in the early days, your ass got whipped. That's what the word is. You got whipped by a woman. Whooped.
Yeah.
And somehow y'all decide to make a baby.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
So
fun.
that and it ended up being your first wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your first wife.
Yeah. And,
So let me ask
and
you this. Let me ask you this. Since you grew up in a household with your mom and dad,
mhm.
did you always have in your mind that you wanted to get married and have family, all that kind of stuff? Was that always like in your head, like I'm gonna get married, I'm gonna do this, do this? Was it like just instilled in you because you saw what was going on in your own household, or what?
Yeah, and I will say that me and I never saw I saw my mom and daddy fight one time, like have a one big ass argument. Uh, and one time in the 20 years that I've seen that they were together from my birth till he passed. So I liked that. I admired that, and I just thought that that was a normal thing to do. And plus, I watched a lot of Cosby Show. I mean, a lot of that shit. A lot of Cosby Show. Recorded that shit on my VCR every Thursday at 7 o'clock. Nigga, it better if somebody recorded on my Cosby Show, we gonna have problems. So that's shit I just envy when I was younger.
Okay, okay, all right. So you did that. You got
Yeah,
married,
yeah,
had had a couple of boys,
yeah,
built a family.
yeah.
How long were you married the first time? How many years?
So she was my high school sweetheart. We met when I was 17. She was 16. Um, got married when I was 25. And by 30, we split up. And I think it took 2 years before we got divorced, or before the divorce was final, because she fighting over some bullshit.
Yeah. So you had your first one before you got married, right? Your first son.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And the second one after you got married.
She was pregnant. She was pregnant with him when we got
Y'all
married.
got that's right. When y'all got married over
Mm-hmm.
at the park, over at the
At
at-
Hillcrest.
yeah, I remember
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah, okay.
She was pregnant, 5 months
So,
pregnant.
so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because I was always scared to have a baby when I was younger. So
Mm-hmm.
you had a baby. So when you found out your girl was pregnant, were you scared? Were you excited? What were you?
I was excited, man. Um, we was down in Lincoln. We was down in Lincoln when she called me and told me
Yeah.
that she may be pregnant. I think that motherfucker knew. But I was excited, man. I was excited to be a daddy. And even though I was 19 years old, I was super excited to be a daddy.
Right.
Um, cause my dad, dude, he was just a good ass dude, man. Was a father to a lot of us. My cousins, a lot of my cousins didn't grow up without a father. So my father took on that father figure for them, and so I didn't have anything to look down on. It looked like, shit, I'll be good.
What did your folks say when you said you was gonna be a dad at 19?
You know what, man? I honestly don't even remember. Because I don't even remember the conversation that I had with them to say that she was pregnant. He probably said, "You stupid," you know. He's like, "You stupid boy," a 19 years old.
Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
mama probably shook her head, but shit, when my son came along, man, it wasn't nothing but love, dog, from before day one.
That's good, man. That's good. That's
Yeah.
and that's usually how it goes. You know,
Hmm.
they'll be upset. Then like when that baby comes around,
That's
that's
it.
a wrap.
That's it.
That's a wrap. That's a
Mhm.
wrap.
That was their firstborn grandbaby. I have their born grandbaby and their last grandbaby.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So let me ask you know, I know you, so I
Mhm.
know what you've been through.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So you said you never saw your folks fight, right?
Yep.
But but I I happen to know firsthand you and your first wife fought. A lot.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
where did that come from? If you didn't see it growing up, what happened with you and yours that y'all was fighting, man? What was that? What?
So
I mean, yeah. How do you explain that? Like, you didn't see it coming up. That wasn't
right.
something that you was familiar with, but now you were doing it with yours.
Yeah. So man, I'll tell you. When I got with her, I thought it was the perfect thing. I thought, like I said, I watched a lot of college shows, and that meant that, and the different world went hand in hand in that shit. So
Mhm.
I thought I was I was the Wayne, and she was my Whitley. I was dark skinned, she was light skinned. You know,
Oh yeah,
she was pretty as hell. You know, all that shit.
yeah.
It was cool, and so I think when it really started going awry was when she got pregnant, and I came home, and she was we was hanging out, and one night I she was about 7 months. I She got kicked out of her mom and or her she was going her mom and daddy were divorced, and she was going back and forth between her mom and daddy. She would get kicked out of her mama's house, get kicked out of her daddy's house, get kicked out of her mom's or whatever.
Yeah.
So it got to a point to where both her mom and daddy kicked her out. She was living with her mama's first cousin, and cool ass family. One of my cousins, I still call my cousin, is her cousin. Still, one of them, he cuts my hair too. But uh, I remember taking her home out there one day, and when we walked in, her cousin was sitting there with a cigarette in her smoking a cigarette on the couch, and she said, "You gonna tell him, or am I?" And my baby mama froze up. She just froze, you know. And so her cousin looked at me. She was like, "Rena, I just want to tell you that baby may not be yours." And so
Um, the one she was carrying, or the one that
seven
you
months, 7 months. She was 7 months.
for your first one?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Said there's a possibility this baby not may not be yours.
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to subscribe and like us on YouTube, and rate and follow us on your favorite podcast platform.
And she needs to tell you. She needs to tell you about it. So, after that happened, we talked about it, and it was almost reason why I laugh at Maury to this day, because it was one of those situations. Now, yeah, I messed with him, and it wasn't nothing. Um,
Yeah.
he was in the army, and he's gone, and blah blah blah, and it was nothing. It was just we had sex one or two times, blah blah, all this old shit. I'm like, okay, she's like, yeah, but I know that this is your baby. So when little Reno was born, I couldn't tell if he looked like me. Shit, I'm 20 years old. I'm just enjoying being
Yeah.
a daddy and just loving on him. And
Right.
I loved him from before he was born. So
Right. Right.
uh, when we found out, it was back in the day that you had to, if you were gonna go on Medicaid or something like that, go on government assistance, you had to name who the father was, and they make that potential father go downtown to
Hmm.
do blood work, and so they'll know who to go after for child support.
Hmm.
Well, I did that. I got the letter, did that, and it wasn't no overnight thing. It took about a month or two before it even came back, and we got it back in the mail saying that he wasn't, and he was about 6 months old. And so I think that's when it started. It started for me at least, as far as
And y'all wasn't even married yet, right?
no, I was 21, she was 19, 19, 20. So,
So you knew from the time he was 6 months old that that wasn't your birth, that wasn't
yep,
your blood son,
yep,
and you still moved forward as being his dad, which is commendable,
hmm
and you still married her.
yeah, as far as Little Reno, man, that's my son. That was my boy. That was, from like I said, I love that little dude since before birth. So there was no, oh well, he's gonna go to somewhere else. That was my baby boy, and
Yeah.
my parents, they so commendable. My pops was like, okay, well, that's what that letter say, but this is your
Mm,
baby, this is my grandson, and we don't want to hear shit else about it. And
yeah.
that's how it was. Period. It wasn't nothing else. We never He was never treated different. Shit. If he was treated differently, as a matter of fact, that motherfucker was treated better
Yeah.
because he was truly my father's favorite before he passed, and my mama's favorite before Little Reno passed. So
So would you say that situation or how it played out,
mhm.
did that affect, so was did that have anything to do with you going forward and marrying her and then y'all having like a tumultuous relationship?
Yep, yep. Um, One thing that I can admit, I've admitted it for years and years, even though that I carried it to where my son was mine.
Mm,
It was just the fact that she wasn't truthful with me,
yeah.
uh, and mind you, we would break up and make up and shit like that, and she claimed that it was between a time where we weren't together.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows, nigga? That was so fucking long ago. I don't even give a fuck no more. But yeah, I think that it played a big old part in that because when I found out that biologically he wasn't mine,
Yeah.
and that just let me know that somebody that I was so in love with cheated on me like that,
Yeah.
and shit. Even as dudes, even as young dudes, even as men, we always think that, hey, oh, we can go cheat on ours, we can go cheat on ours, but shit, if they cheat on us, I'm a, woo, and that's what happened, dude.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just what happened. She just got caught up with hers. I didn't get caught up with mine,
yeah.
and
Now we have a huge double standard when it comes to that.
hell, motherfucking yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we do. We do. We want to run
So,
around and do our stuff, but if
yeah.
you step out on us, oh no. Oh
What you mean? What you mean? You
yeah. What?
you
You
did what? Yeah,
on
yeah.
me? Yeah.
Right. So that's all it was, man. But it was a thing that I just never forgave her. I truly never forgave her for
Okay.
that.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
was that's something that I had to go through counseling to understand for real.
Yeah.
I never forgave her for that, and even at this point, I still hold some animosity towards her because of that and the other shit that she did, in my opinion.
Yeah. 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 That relationship was truly special, and not in a good way. Um,
But not
it,
unique though,
it
man.
huh?
But not unique.
No, not by any means. I
Yeah,
mean, I can I can go out on the street and meet
yeah,
somebody with the same similar story. It's not unique at all.
right.
It's just, something you had to go through. And, you know, hopefully, like you said, you sought out some therapy and hopefully that helped you out.
Hmm.
But you did move on and got married again. So
Yeah.
you actually did it again. You was like, oh, I love marriage. I just want to be married. Oh man, let me try it again.
Yeah, I know, I know. I didn't get to my thick skull. Yeah, did it
Oh,
again.
you would think somebody would learn a damn lesson, but different woman, different circumstance. So then you married again.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, second marriage. You know, you how long did that one go?
About the same time period, man. Shit, I guess I got that. Shit. Let me see. So me and old girl, me and the first one broke up when I was 30, like January or some shit.
Yeah,
We went and fucked around, and I won a trip to Cancun or Jamaica. Not Jamaica. And we went to Jamaica,
Yeah.
On that. And then right after that was like February. Right after that, it was like, nope, I'm done. I'm done. I'm like, okay. So I was begging her, begging her, begging her. She wasn't feeling it. And later on that year, I found, I started dating my daughter's mom, and it was cool, man. We were friends first. We
Yeah.
worked together,
Okay.
started dating, and eventually I married.
And then you had your third child.
She was pregnant too.
When you
She was
got
pregnant
married?
when we got married. Yeah. I proposed to both of them before, but then, like, I already know Malcolm. Malcolm was Lorena was a summer impregnation. Malcolm was a Valentine baby. Shit, and Farron was a Christmas baby. I can tell you, and she can too. Her mama tell you, like, we knew exactly when she got pregnant with Farron. We knew, like, from that moment, right after, it was like, I was like, you're pregnant, right? And literally two or 3 weeks later in January, it was Christmas night, and then 2 or 3 weeks later in January, she was pregnant. But I had already proposed to her like earlier
Yeah.
that summer or something.
So there's like a pattern going on here. It's like there's
Yeah,
a pattern.
it was. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It was terrible. It was
I,
bad.
I don't even. If I was on a TV show, I'd be a bad host because I'm like, I don't know where to go with that. Where you go next with that? I don't know.
Who knows? Who
But
knows?
but anyway,
Yeah.
that didn't work. Your marriage didn't work. Didn't work.
Nope.
However, it wasn't the same problems though. It wasn't.
Right.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
you did evolve, and it was a different situation. You guys just got divorced because of just what?
So we got a divorce, man. We just weren't getting along, man. We weren't agreeing on a lot of things, and it was like financial was huge. That may have even been number one,
Yeah,
because when we first met, I was making good money, or at that time, for a 30-year-old, I guess she was making good money. And then I got into the mortgage industry, and I made some decent money for a couple of years. And then that's when that boom hit, that
yeah,
bust, excuse me, that bust hit in 08, 07, 08. And
right,
my income went from here to shit down to the floor.
yeah,
And I've been a salesman from shit 25 years now, but at that time she was like, well, you just need to go get a regular job. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just not going to do that. And so
yeah,
we had big arguments over that, because at that time we literally just bought a house a year before. And a lot of the bills went on her. To be honest with you, dude, I'm not even going to try to front and say that it was all her fault, because me and my stubbornness,
yeah.
and
I was gonna say, you know they
and
call it
and
right. That's called pride.
pride,
Called
stubborn, all
pride,
that shit.
and
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
that will ruin you every time.
Yep, yeah,
Every time.
yeah. So it was a lot of that, and other things that went wrong in our relationship, that just caused us to split up.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah,
So at this point in your life, sir,
yeah.
would you try it again?
Dude, if you would ask me that shit about 3 years ago, I'd be like, hell no. But um, I would possibly entertain it again, just simply because I wouldn't entertain it for I don't like the government.
I
I
know.
don't I don't feel like the government should be in any motherfucking thing that I do. Fuck them. I'll say it, and I'll say it, and I don't care who hear it. Fuck them. But what I will say is, I do understand the more.
Disclaimer: the opinions of this opinion of this sir is not of this this podcast.
It's all on me. I said it. CIA, FBI, don't go after him. It's all what I say. I don't like you. I don't like none of you. I think all of you guys are crooks.
That's Frank E. Raney with the E.
Yes, FRA. Frank like Sinatra.
Hey, but you know the power of three, right?
Yeah.
It could either be the third time's a charm,
Or
or
three
it could
strikes
be
you out.
three strikes you're out.
Yeah, yeah. So man, when I look at it though, I look at it like this, man. I wouldn't. I was at first after that when I was like so opposed to getting married again.
Yeah.
But now that I'm getting older, I was like, okay, I wouldn't necessarily mind being married because it wasn't with my first wife, notorious cheater. I was a notorious cheater. I mean, like the woman that I cheated with and I was in love with, actually, I danced with her at my reception. My reception. Yeah,
And,
it was a dog. Yeah, but we weren't doing anything at that time. It took like a month after us getting married, but shit, it like that lasted as long as my marriage did. But so that second one that when I said okay, I'm trying to not do this shit right, I didn't cheat.
okay.
And so I didn't. It wasn't a thing of cheating. It was just a thing of the attention, I think, or the what I felt like I was not getting.
Hmm. Yeah.
But now I don't look at it like I want to be. I don't. The monogamy stuff doesn't necessarily bother me. It's just the fact that we have to ask a government to say it's okay to get married. I don't like that shit. And it's as the government is okay for us to get divorced, and that government to say, yeah, it's now okay, but you got to give her half your shit, or you got to do this. And I don't agree. Oh, she has to give you half her shit. I
Yeah.
don't believe in that shit.
Yeah.
I hate that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't say I disagree with that.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, but the one good thing is out of your two marriages didn't work, but you had three blessings out of all of them.
Man,
Three beautiful children.
man.
Unfortunately, your oldest passed away back in 2000 and what year
17.
was it?
17.
17.
Yeah.
How old was Lorena when he passed?
24.
24.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you've had some pretty challenging experiences between your dad dying young. Your dad was like 48 when he passed, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
48. Wasn't even supposed to go.
48. Yeah, and then your oldest passed at 24. So those could like break a person. Just
Mhm.
either one of those could really break somebody. But I know you. I know you've endured. You've persevered. If anything, you've become stronger. Um,
Mhm.
because you carry on those names. Big Frank, Little Reno, they live on. You don't let that shit die at all. You know,
Yeah,
I respect that
bro.
about you. I respect that for sure.
I'll tell you, man. I'm one of the hardest things to get is that phone call to say that from somebody to say that your son that your child is gone.
Yeah.
And when somebody's your world, when I was growing up, before I even had kids, I always knew I wanted three kids. I always knew I wanted two boys and a girl. And I always knew that I wanted my boys to be older and I wanted my daughter to be to be a baby.
Yeah.
And I always knew that I wanted my oldest son to be named after me.
Mhm.
So when someone robs you of that, of your namesake, of your firstborn, of your my life, you know,
Yeah.
it kind of stops you from doing a lot of shit. I tell people that if it truly weren't for Farron, after I had buried my oldest son, I probably would have taken my own life. It 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 was that devastating to me. If it truly wasn't for my daughter, and yeah, I love my middle son. I love Malcolm to death. I mean, I love. Stop saying that. I love Malcolm to life. But Malcolm had his mom, and
Right.
so
Mm.
Farron and I, we shared at that time, and even still to today, we shared a bond that was so close and so tight, um, that if it weren't for her,
Yeah.
I probably would have been gone as well.
Mm. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I never knew that.
It's a dark time, brother. It was a dark time for me.
No, I can't even imagine um, what that feeling's like. Just even think about having to go through that. I can't even imagine. Um, yeah, that's. I tell, like I've had members of my family pass on young, and you know, um, I tell aunts and uncles, whatever. I'm like, there's no filling that void. Once that void is created, there's
Yeah,
nothing you can put in that spot that's gonna fill that space. Um,
yeah.
so I don't even, I can't even. I remember when you when you called me and told me about it. I didn't have any words really. I couldn't process it. I couldn't even say anything other than I love you, and that's why I told you because I couldn't put anything else out there. I just nothing else I could say. You know.
Yeah, man. And I appreciate it, dog. It was when you after I got that, man, everything was a blur. It was a lot of stuff that was a blur because Farron was actually with me. I think
Mm,
she had a soccer game that morning,
yeah.
and after her soccer games, we would always come home and like, shit, baby, we tired. And I
Mm,
think she took a nap. If she didn't take a nap, Daddy showed took a nap.
yeah.
And when I woke up, that's when I saw that my phone had been blowing up.
Mm, mm,
I called. It was about 2:30. Called my cousin. That's when she told me, and that's when she gave me the number to the detective, and that's when I called the detective. But yeah, man, it was crazy, crazy shit. But uh, makes you love your kids more. Makes you want to make sure that they are doing everything that they need to do.
mm,
It made me encourage them more, live their dreams more. Because one thing that I just loved about my son, my oldest, was uh, he had started. He was such an introvert. He was
yeah.
at a lot of times he was very introverted,
Yeah.
and then when he told me about 18 years old, 18, 19, like, Daddy, you want to hear my song? I said, what song? He said, I'm rapping. No, you ain't. You ain't. No, you just can't. And so he
Yeah.
went from being an introvert to going on I think it was like a 32 city tour with T Pain, and him and his best friend opened up for T Pain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Frankie
about the
baby.
yeah, yeah, Frankie baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was so proud of him, man. So proud of him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. You should be, sir. You should be. I'm proud of you, my nigga. I'm proud of you.
thanks, bro. Thanks.
Yeah. Didn't mean to go so dark with it, but such is
I
life.
mean,
That's
we
what.
trying to let people know, man, that this
Yeah.
the shit that y'all going through right now. Honestly, man, it's people go through that.
Yeah.
People have gone through it. People will go through it. People will continue to do so.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
it's good to have somebody to talk to when you're going
It
through something
is.
like that.
I
And I
mean,
had a good
yeah.
foundation.
It's good even if it's not a professional therapist. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm an advocate for therapy, but I'm an advocate for talking,
yeah,
even if it's just your friend, your sibling, your somebody that you can talk to and just release and not hold it in. We're not meant to hold shit in.
fuck no. And people got to realize kings, queens, presidents, they everybody got somebody to talk to. They got an advisor. They got
Yeah.
somebody if they
Yeah.
gonna run some shit on, do some
Right.
shit. They
Right.
saying, no, man, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't.
Right. They have counsel. They have multiple people that they run shit by and like,
Mhm.
listen, I don't think that's the way you want to go.
Right. Maybe you should
So
try it this way. And that's the life. Don't take it for granted. Don't take for granted the fact that people are in your life or
no.
can be want to be in your life that can help you guide you through that shit.
Yeah,
Because it's some shit out here for real.
it is. It is. It is. And we're not meant to navigate this ship alone. We're
Mm-mm,
not. It's not
mm-mm.
designed that way. We're meant to coexist. We're meant to have relationships, and that's how we get through stuff, man. So
Yeah.
I think these two eps been very real. They've been very revealing about who we are as men, where we're coming from. Uh, Not every episode will be heavy. Uh, there'll be some lighthearted episodes. There'll be, whatever's going on at the time we'll talk about too. So, you know,
Mhm.
it's life. We living as we go.
Yeah.
uh, we plan on doing this for a while. So, if you with it, come along with us, ride with us, listen to
Yeah.
us,
Like it,
give us
subscribe it.
subscribe, subscribe and like on YouTube, rate and follow on your podcast platforms. Provide feedback in the comments, good or bad. I don't care what you guys say, good or bad. Just say something.
I don't give a fuck what you say. You can say good, you can say bad. I don't give a fuck. That's just me. Jay care about that shit. I don't.
Now,
I
wait a
just
minute. Wait a minute.
yeah.
I didn't say I cared about nothing. I just said I don't mind being interactive. I don't mind
Well,
the feedback. I may read some comments online. I may come on the show and say, hey, XYZ said this. Let's talk about it.
yeah, yeah.
Or
If your
someone
bitch
may
ass
say,
don't, if your bitch ass come out there in them comments and saying something bad, best believe I'm gonna say something about your bitch ass. And so Jay better not bring it to me because I that's just my emotion.
with that said, I probably won't bring it to him because I need followers. I need an audience.
Telling you, man, I'm
him
really feeling this
him
shit.
over there, him over there is don't give a F. Me,
Yeah.
I'm like smooth jazz.
Hell no. I'm like Willie D. You ain't gotta cry no more. You're going to see him. Shit. You ain't come on, man. I ain't with all that foolishness. So don't come to me with no bullshit.
So listen, this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get you're gonna get you're gonna get you're gonna get the boy Wood,
Yeah.
and you're gonna get Frank the Tank, raucous
Authentic
and raw.
AC. Authentic, baby.
Listen, we best of friends, we brothers.
Mm-hmm.
We're so alike, we're so different.
Mm-hmm.
But that's that's what makes this friendship so beautiful, though.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and listen, we're gonna go in the past, we're gonna go in the future, we're gonna talk about all kinds of stuff. So just come along with us, ride with us. Uh, looking forward to this ride, my nigga.
Yeah. We're gonna have some good people on here, man. We've been talking about lists and everything. We're gonna get on here and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah. I got a list. I
Mm-hmm.
got folks calling me already talking about, hey, what's up? So,
Mm-hmm.
so we're gonna get some people on this podcast, talk about all kinds of stuff.
Some people I may have to calm it down for, like if we ever bring our mamas on here or some shit. Yeah, but everybody else can get it. Everybody else can get it.
I already know. I already know. Once mom hears this podcast, she can be like, "Ooh, the language."
Who's Reno? What's Reno talking about?
Cuss so much?
Yes,
Yes.
we are grown. Shit.
Yes, it is. And this is a grown podcast, so
Yeah,
just
yeah. And even one day, man, I
earbuds.
hope I hope to bring one of the kids on, if not both of them, man. So,
Yeah, that would
well,
be
I'm telling you, mine's gonna be on here, and they know daddy cuss. They know daddy don't hold shit back. They know daddy's gonna have a weed house up in here growing weed legally, of course, because I'm in Missouri and I can do that shit. Thank you.
Thank you for that disclaimer.
Yeah,
Legal in the state. He is not promoting illegal substance abuse. So,
Get
with
your
that,
card, ladies and gentlemen.
on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to close this podcast episode.
Yeah,
Again, please subscribe and like us, and come
yeah.
back and follow us again. Check us out,
Please.
because you know what, Kings can move on.
Peace out.
Peace out. If you enjoyed that episode, don't forget to subscribe and like us on our YouTube channel, and rate and follow us on your favorite podcast platform.